He came not only to conquer Europe, but to transform the very image of power. Unlike many conquerors before him, Napoleon understood a true empire is built not only with a sword, but with a symbol. That is why he didn't just wear jewelry, he designed it as an extension of his authority, as a strategic instrument meant to outlive even himself. In every necklace, every tiara, every setting, there is an echo of the ambition that saturated his entire path, from general to crowned monarch. The laurel wreath, gold that replaced the crown. When Napoleon decided to crown himself emperor in 1804, he didn't lean on tradition, he rewrote it. Instead of a medieval crown adorned with crosses, he chose something far older and more symbolic. A golden laurel wreath, identical to those placed on the heads of heroes in ancient Rome. The wreath was crafted by French artisan Martin Guillaume Biennet. It wasn't merely meant to shine, but to declare to the world, I am the heir of Caesar, not of Louis. This wreath often appears in official portraits, heavy golden leaves crowning the emperor's forehead, underscoring not divine grace but human determination. The irony of history is that, toward the end of his life in exile on the island of St. Helena, the wreath was ruthlessly melted down. Only one part survived, a single golden leaf which Napoleon gifted to the artist Jean-Baptiste Isabey. In 2017, that leaf was auctioned in Paris for $625,000, a symbol that even melted power can retain the aura of eternity. Imperial symbolism took more personal forms as well. In 1811, after the birth of his son, Napoleon II, Napoleon chose to celebrate the event in his usual grand fashion. He commissioned a magnificent diamond necklace as a gift to his second wife, Marie-Louise of Austria. It was crafted by the workshop of Etienne Nitto and Sons, the official jewelers of the imperial court. Napoleon's necklace is a symphony of silver, gold, and 234 diamonds, with a total weight of 263 carats. At its center shines a single 4-carat diamond, as if the heart of the entire structure. But as often happened with Napoleon's love stories, the jewel soon became a symbol of what was lost. In 1814, after his defeat, Marie-Louise left France, taking all her treasures with her. The necklace returned to Austria, where it passed down through generations of the Habsburg dynasty until, in the 20th century, it came into the hands of philanthropist Marjorie Merriweather Post. In 1962, she donated it to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains to this day. If the laurel wreath symbolized Roman heritage, another element of Napoleon's coronation was meant to inspire awe, and it did so brilliantly. This was the coronation sword, in the hilt of which gleamed the Regent Diamond, one of the most famous and mysterious stones in history. This grand gem, weighing 140.64 carats, had a long and brilliant biography. Discovered in 1698 in the Golconda mines of India, it made its way to France and was placed among the royal regalia by Philippe II, Duke of Orléans, in 1717. Napoleon, eager not just to inherit the symbolism of the French monarchy, but to rewrite it, ordered the jewelers Nitto to mount the diamond in the sword he used for his self-coronation at Notre Dame Cathedral in 1804. The regent outlived not only the coronation, but the fall of the empire. It is now housed in the Louvre, a testament to the inseparable bond between power, spectacle, and legend. Napoleon's strength lay not only in the saber and the word, but in the art of the symbol. He understood, if a tiara graces the head of the empress, then it too is part of the throne. And if a diadem sparkles in public, it speaks louder than a manifesto. That's why the jewels gifted to Josephine and Marie-Louise were not merely tokens of affection, they were declarations. Among all the motifs Napoleon loved, wheat sheaves held a special place, an ancient symbol of fertility, rebirth, peace, and abundance. At a time when the empire was still finding its footing, he sought to surround Josephine not only with precious stones, but with omens of future prosperity. Thus was born one of the most unusual tiaras of the time. The ears of wheat tiara, created around 1811 by the son of Marie-Étienne Niteau, founder of what would become the House of Chaumet. This was not just jewelry. It was a hymn to craftsmanship. 9 individual wheat stalks, lavishly encrusted with 66 carats of antique-cut diamonds, mounted on a flexible gold and silver base. Josephine didn't just wear this tiara, she made it fashionable. A wave of interest in ancient symbols in fashion and jewelry followed. Wheat became a metaphor for motherhood, strength, and renewal. Even after her divorce from Napoleon, the tiara remained part of her image, a sign of the informal power of a woman who had once been empress. When Napoleon married Austrian Archduchess Marie-Louise in 1810, he knew it was more than a marriage. It was a diplomatic move, and he approached such games with the grandeur of a strategist. As a wedding gift, he ordered a set of emerald jewels for his new bride, a necklace and earrings, once again crafted by the jewelers of the Niteau house. The set embodied the purity of classicism. 32 emeralds, accented with rose and brilliant cut diamonds, formed the necklace, while the earrings, simple and elegant, mirrored it. Everything in these pieces breathed of their era: clear geometry, antique lines, austere color. It was a love letter written in the language of diplomacy. Like so much else, Marie-Louise's jewels left France with her after Napoleon's fall. They vanished for a time into private collections until history turned a corner. In 2004, the Louvre acquired the emerald set for a record $3.7 million, the highest price the museum had ever paid for jewelry. Today, the necklace and earrings are housed in the Louvre's decorative arts gallery, reminding us how a marriage can be a political alliance and an emerald an act of state will. A tiara with a hidden message, a gift that could not be worn, but the boldest piece of the era was perhaps the papal tiara, commissioned by Napoleon as a gift for Pope Pius VII, the very man who had come to Paris for his coronation. At first glance, it seemed an act of gratitude. 3 golden crowns encrusted with rubies, emeralds, sapphires, and pearls, mounted on a velvet cap, the opulence, nearly celestial. But there was a catch. The tiara was deliberately made too heavy and too small to wear. It wasn't just impractical, it was an insult disguised as an offering. In Jacques-Louis David's famous painting, The Coronation of Napoleon, the papal tiara is barely visible, held by an aide behind Pius VII. The scene resembles a play with all parts pre-written. The act was a pure political statement. I acknowledge your presence, but not your supremacy. In 1810, on the day of his wedding, Napoleon gave Marie-Louise a magnificent emerald diadem in the tradition of the Austrian court. Symmetry, elegance, filigree scrollwork. Everything spoke of the empress's refined taste and aesthetic. But history had other plans. In the mid-20th century, the piece ended up in the hands of Van Cleef and Arpels, one of the world's leading jewelers. Between 1954 and 1956, they made a bold decision. They removed all the emeralds from the original diadem, sold them individually, and replaced them with turquoise. Trendy, fresh, unconventional. The old monarchy gave way to a new idea of beauty. Yet the diadem itself survived. It continued its journey through private collections until 1971, when Marjorie Merriweather Post, the same woman who had donated Napoleon's necklace to the Smithsonian, acquired it. Soon after, the diadem became part of the museum's permanent collection, joining the National Jewel Treasury of the United States. Today, it shines beneath glass, adorned with antique diamonds, turquoise medallions, and carved scrolls. As if to remind us, everything that once signified political power is now an object of admiration. The fate of these pieces, the laurel wreath, the diadem, the tiara, the sword with the regent, raises a question. What lasts longer, the man, the system, or beauty? Napoleon has long since departed this world. His empire has collapsed, his exile turned into myth, his body entombed in the grand crypt of Les Invalides. But the necklace he gave in love, the sword with which he crowned himself, The diadem, disfigured by time but not forgotten, all remain. More than that, they continue their journey. From hand to hand, from thrones to museums, from one era into eternity. These objects no longer speak for an empire, they speak for an idea. The idea that in the most precious and carefully crafted details, Napoleon tried to immortalize himself, and in some way, he succeeded. His jewels became his second body, his own immortality.